fabulous friend of Free to Work. She knows what it's like to be in the trenches, to actually do the grassroots work that it takes to make things happen, and she's a kick-ass mom. So thanks, Dana, for being here. Come on up.
The big gun control story, which we won. We won that narrative. We fought on principle and we won that narrative. We just didn't win that narrative, we won that narrative. And you can see by the number of polls that have been taken. All of these individuals who quoted Nate Silver all throughout the last election suddenly don't want to pay attention to the majority of Americans who think that their Second Amendment rights should remain untouched. But there you have it. They're situational poll believers, I guess. Yeah, that can be so Freudian. Anyway, it's that kind of a morning. I only had one scotch last night too, believe it or not. Anyway, so many, for instance, just to give you an example, one of the stories that's been absolutely aggravating me. We did really well on this, but just to use this as a model for going forward with the gun control battle. What do you always hear from people like Piers Morgan or anybody on MSNBC or people on CNN or people in New York Times or Washington Post? What is the thing that they always focus on?
Gun safety.
Well, gun safety, but they focus on the number of gun deaths.
For the kids.
How many people have been killed because of gun deaths? How many people have died? Oh, look at all these thousands of people that have died from gun-related deaths. Let's forget the fact that the majority of them are gang-related, or they try to figure in suicides, or even individuals shot in the law enforcement taking out bad guys. But you never ever hear the statistic of the number of lives saved every year. Because if they had to tell you the number of lives saved every year, their narrative is shot from 1997 to 2011. And the thing is, in the era of information, all of this stuff, all of these statistics, all of these cases are at their fingertips, but they choose not to do it. You can go to FBI.gov. You can look at their uniform crime reports, and what do you end up seeing? On average, 2.1 million cases of self-defense successfully carried out using a firearm. And even more importantly, from this side who loves to declare a war on women, 10% of those cases are women who are using firearms to defend themselves against a sexual attacker. Someone who's going to rape them or molest them in some fashion. So if we are going to have a war on women, that entire argument needs to be reframed, because the way I look at it, the right to choose our self-defense is being infringed upon by a bunch of know-nothing, patriarchal pansies who are very Freudian in the way that they're terrified of guns. So, that's how that has to be reframed. We can play that game even better because we're more creative than they are. I'm going to get to that shortly. It's antithetical to women's rights. This is a civil liberty issue. This is a civil rights issue. And it needs to be framed as such. Every time, and this is what we constantly need to throw in their face, every single time they get this itch that they got to scratch and they got to disarm people. They did it in Wounded Knee. They did it Trail of Tears. Who was it that was disarming American Indians? Democrats. They did it during the Reconstruction era. Well, we can't have freed slaves owning guns. So what did Democrats do? Let's disarm people. They get this itch every now and then, and they have to scratch it. If they were really interested in saving lives, they would run more stories on Kermit Gosnell. Throw that in their face constantly, because they can't. They don't know how to. There's the robot glitch. They don't know how to deal with it. I do horrible impressions, so you're in for a treat. They don't know how to deal with it. But that's how it needs to be framed. This is antithetical to women's rights. It's against our civil liberties. And women statistically comprise the majority of the victims. I'm not leaving the dudes out because I know there's some crazy women out there. I saw that Jodi Arias, whatever. A woman has skank eyes. You'd think you'd see this woman. You'd run in the opposite direction. She looks crazy. We women know. So, we know. On